Have you ever wondered why some people can fool almost everyone, but never seem to fool a Sigma female? A fake smile, a convincing story, the perfect first impression. For many people, that's enough to earn trust, but not for the Sigma female. She understands something that takes most people years to learn. Anyone can pretend for a few hours. Some people can pretend for a few months. But almost nobody can pretend forever. That's why she rarely judges people based on first impressions alone. She watches, she listens, she notices the small inconsistencies that most people overlook. The way someone treats a waiter after speaking politely to the manager, the sudden change in personality when certain people enter the room, the promises that never seem to become actions. These tiny moments tell her far more than polished words ever could. People often call this intuition. In reality, it's years of careful observation combined with hard-earned experience. The Sigma female isn't trying to expose people. She simply wants to know who's genuine and who isn't before she allows them into her life. Today, we'll explore 10 reasons fake people struggle to fool Sigma females, and why authenticity is the one thing she values above everything else. Let's begin. 1. She watches actions more than words. One of the biggest mistakes fake people make is assuming everyone believes what they say. The Sigma female doesn't. She believes actions are the language people speak when nobody is trying to impress anyone. Someone may constantly talk about loyalty, but do they remain loyal when life becomes inconvenient? Someone may describe themselves as honest, but do they admit mistakes when telling the truth costs them something? Someone may claim they're kind, but how do they treat people who have nothing to offer them? These are the questions running quietly through the Sigma female's mind. She knows words can be rehearsed. Actions usually can't. That's why she waits. She observes people over time instead of rushing into conclusions. Eventually, patterns appear, and patterns almost always reveal the truth. 2. She notices inconsistency. Immediately, fake personalities are difficult to maintain. Not because pretending is impossible, because consistency is. The Sigma female pays attention to small contradictions. Someone who acts humble in public but constantly seeks praise in private. Someone who speaks respectfully to people with influence but becomes dismissive toward everyone else. Someone who changes opinions depending on who's listening. Most people overlook these details because each individual moment seems insignificant. The Sigma female connects them together. She doesn't judge isolated incidents. She studies repeated behavior, and repeated behavior creates a picture that becomes impossible to ignore. She understands that authentic people remain relatively consistent across different situations. Fake people constantly adjust themselves to gain approval. Eventually, those adjustments become visible. 3. She doesn't rush to trust. Many fake people succeed because they move relationships too quickly. They share personal stories immediately, offer excessive compliments, promise lifelong loyalty after only a short time. The Sigma female rarely falls for this. She understands that trust isn't built through intensity, it's built through time. She doesn't mind taking relationships slowly. Whether it's friendship, romance, or business, she believes people reveal themselves naturally when enough time passes. This patience protects her. Manipulative people often lose interest when quick trust isn't available. Authentic people usually remain consistent regardless of how long the process takes. That's why the Sigma female never feels pressured to decide who someone truly is after only a few conversations. She knows time is one of the best truth detectors life has ever created. 4. She pays attention to motives. Whenever someone does something unusually generous, charming, or helpful, the Sigma female quietly asks herself one simple question. Why? Not because she's suspicious of kindness, because she understands that actions usually have motivations behind them. Sometimes the motivation is genuine generosity. Sometimes it's recognition. Sometimes it's influence. Sometimes it's control. She knows that two people can perform the exact same action for completely different reasons. That's why she doesn't only observe behavior, she watches what happens afterward. Does the person expect something in return? Do they become angry if they aren't appreciated enough? Do they withdraw their kindness when it no longer benefits them? These moments reveal motives that words rarely explain. and motives often tell the real story. 5. She is comfortable with silence. One of the Sigma female's greatest strengths is something many people underestimate. She isn't afraid of silence. Most conversations make people uncomfortable the moment nobody is speaking. They rush to fill every pause. The Sigma female doesn't. She waits. And something fascinating often happens. The other person keeps talking. They reveal more than they intended. They contradict earlier statements. They become impatient. Or they begin trying too hard to impress her. Silence removes the pressure to perform. It gives people room to reveal themselves naturally. While everyone else is focused on what they should say next, the Sigma female is focused on what she's learning. That's why fake people often leave conversations believing everything went perfectly. Meanwhile, the Sigma female has quietly noticed details they didn't even realize they revealed. And without saying a single word, she's already beginning to understand exactly who they're pretending to be. 6. She recognizes emotional manipulation. One of the biggest reasons fake people struggle around a Sigma female is that emotional manipulation rarely works on her for very long. She's seen too many patterns. The guilt trips, the empty apologies, the sudden affection that only appears after someone has made a mistake, the promises that sound sincere but are never followed by action. Earlier in life, she may have given people countless chances because she believed everyone deserved the benefit of the doubt. Experience changed that. Now she understands that genuine remorse always produces change. Manipulation only produces another excuse. So when someone repeatedly tries to control her emotions through guilt, fear, or sympathy, without taking real responsibility, she notices. She doesn't argue endlessly. She doesn't try to expose them. She simply begins creating emotional distance. Because she knows protecting her peace is far more important than winning an argument. 7. She reads what people don't say. Most people listen only to words. The Sigma female listens to everything else. She notices hesitation before someone answers a simple question. She notices when confidence suddenly disappears. She notices forced laughter, nervous eye contact, and subtle changes in tone. None of these things automatically mean someone is lying. She understands that. But when several small signals appear together, they often reveal something important. Perhaps the person isn't being completely honest. Perhaps they're hiding insecurity. Perhaps they're trying too hard to create a certain image. The Sigma female never jumps to conclusions based on one moment. Instead, she quietly collects observations, like pieces of a puzzle. Eventually, those pieces begin forming a picture. And once the picture becomes clear, it's very difficult to convince her otherwise. 8. She doesn't need everyone to like her. One of the greatest advantages the Sigma female has is surprisingly simple. She isn't desperate for approval. Many fake people succeed because they understand that most people want to be liked. They use compliments, charm, attention, or flattery to earn trust quickly. The Sigma female appreciates kindness, but she doesn't depend on it. She isn't trying to become everyone's favorite person. Because she isn't seeking approval, she's much harder to manipulate with it. If someone suddenly becomes overly charming, she doesn't immediately assume they're genuine. She asks herself whether the behavior is consistent. She watches what happens when admiration is no longer useful. This emotional independence protects her from people who mistake charm for character. 9. She trusts patterns more than first impressions. Everyone has good days. Everyone has bad days. The Sigma female knows this. That's why she refuses to define people by a single interaction. Instead, she watches for patterns. Does this person always make excuses? Do they repeatedly disappoint others? Do they only act generously when someone is watching? Do they disappear when life becomes inconvenient? Patterns answer questions that isolated moments never can. This patient approach often surprises people. Others rush into friendships because the first impression feels exciting. The Sigma female stays curious. She allows time to reveal consistency or expose the lack of it. And sooner or later, repeated behavior tells her everything she needs to know. 10. She values authenticity more than perfection. Perhaps the biggest misconception about Sigma females is that they expect perfect people. They don't. In fact, they're often incredibly understanding of mistakes. Everyone fails, everyone has flaws, everyone says the wrong thing sometimes. What the Sigma female struggles to tolerate is pretending. Pretending to be kind while secretly using people. Pretending to be confident while constantly seeking validation. Pretending to be honest while hiding behind convenient lies. She would rather spend time with someone who openly admits their imperfections than someone who hides behind a carefully constructed image. Because authenticity creates trust, pretending destroys it. That's why fake people rarely stay in her life for long. Not because she enjoys judging others, but because she's learned that genuine character is worth protecting. And once she recognizes someone isn't being authentic, she quietly steps away. Conclusion: fake people often believe appearances are enough. A confident smile, the right words, a carefully crafted image. Those things may impress many people, but they rarely impress a Sigma female for very long. She understands that character isn't revealed during perfect moments. It's revealed during difficult ones, when promises become inconvenient, when nobody is watching, when honesty requires courage. That's where the real person appears. The Sigma female isn't gifted with magical intuition. She simply pays attention. She observes instead of assuming. She listens instead of rushing to judge. And most importantly, she allows time to reveal what appearances often hide. That's why fake people eventually become uncomfortable around her. Not because she exposes them publicly, but because she quietly sees through the version they're trying so hard to sell. In the end, her greatest strength isn't detecting deception. It's valuing authenticity enough to walk away from anything less. If this video resonated with you, let us know in the comments. Do you think fake people eventually reveal themselves, or can some hide behind a mask forever? If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more videos on Sigma female psychology, relationships, and personal growth. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.